of our people.
Seattle, Washington for Sister Soldier. Seattle, are you there? Okay, Seattle, goodbye. We go to Washington, D.C. Hello.
Hello. I'd like to know exactly how Sister Soldier might feel about a comment that was made by a white D.C. disc jockey who made reference to Martin Luther King Day by saying, we get a day off from Martin Luther King. Why don't we kill a few more of them and get a week off?
Now, in fairness, that was many years ago, and he apologized for that many, many times.
Well, I can still answer her question.
Sure, I'm sure. I just want to set the record straight.
I think that that's indicative of white racism in America. But one thing about white racism in America is it's very subtle. And every now and then, somebody will pop out and say what they really think. But the thing that kills African people in America is not what white people say, but what they do. Their policies, their actions, and how it affects African people domestically and internationally.
Camp Wingfoot, Ohio. Hello.
Hi, Larry.
Hi.
Sister, I really appreciate what you're doing, but I'd like to ask you, what do you think is the difference between you and a David Duke, and why don't you take some of that money you spend on your expensive jewels and give it to the African people you're talking about?
Okay, I'll answer the first part first.
Well, Clinton compared you to Duke, so it's a fair question.
Oh, I have no problem with the question. You can ask me anything you want to ask me. First of all, David Duke was a member of the KKK, Ku Klux Klan, which is a terrorist organization that advocates and does perform the murder of African people and has, over a period of 150 years, killed African people, burnt down our houses, blown up our churches, killed our children, and hung our men from trees. Sister Soldier does not own a gun, has never shot anyone, has never killed anyone, does not have a criminal record, and has never been a member of a terrorist organization that advocates the murder of white people. The other thing is, in terms of my jewels, I think that's a very paternalistic attitude that you have. And most white people tend to think that African people as individuals should not enjoy any of the benefits of their material accomplishments, even though we have to work twice and 3 times as hard as white people in order to get it. The other thing, excuse me, that you should know is that I do support various causes for the upliftment of African children back in my community in Harlem and in Brooklyn, and that I encourage young people to develop businesses by giving them money and running contests to stimulate the thoughts about entrepreneurship in our community.
One more thing I want to discuss with you. Your thoughts on Ice-T. Vice President Quayle today attacked Time Warner, the company that owns the recording company he records for, because of his statements about killing police officers in his rap music. I haven't heard your thoughts on that.
My thoughts is that America refuses to deal with white supremacy and racism, so what they do is run around attacking everybody who's African and outspoken. Ice-T, Public Enemy, Minister Farrakhan, anybody that has an opinion or who's pissed off at the fact that we're beat down, brutalized, and when we go and seek justice in the courts, we still cannot get it. So I'm not surprised that they're attacking Ice-T. The other thing I wanted to say is this, that you take a guy like Quayle and you really start to understand racism. Here is a man who has absolutely no intelligence, political savvy, or understanding of the majority of people in the American society. But just simply because he's white and born into a privileged family, he can actually run around and pretend to be the vice president of this country.
Do you like Ice-T's music?
I am not a person that purchases Ice-T's music, but I certainly support his right to express himself.
Thanks very much, Sister Soldier. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Come children, say it loud. Make them know we're still black and proud.
Join us again tomorrow, same time, for more in the GBE, the Great Black Experience on Freedom FM 106.5.
African leaders just wait. Got the action we can't duplicate. Black pride indeed preach. To the young we must teach. Put Gab in reality. Make we check in philosophy. Talking about African dignity in a this insanity. Talking about our history that began before slavery. Come children, say it loud. Make them know we're still black and proud. Scabba-dabba-dam. Scabba-dabba-dam.
For Culturama 51, National Bank wants you to swipe more, win more, and experience more. When you use your National Bank Visa credit or debit card this summer, you're swiping your way to VIP tickets, a celebrity makeover, and liming cash for Culturama 51. From June 18th to July 28th, every swipe over $100 gets you a chance to win a VIP Culturama experience. Pick your event, get a glam makeover, skip the line, and lounge like a star. Or grab $500 in liming cash and splurge to the max. Draws take place live at the National Bank Group Soca Monarch semifinals on July 19th and the official opening of Culturama on July 24th. 2 big nights, 4 big winners. Only with National Bank, your premier platinum sponsor for Culturama 51.
Frigate Bay is now the new Amory Bakery destination. Starting Sunday, July 13th, our Victoria Road location will be closed on Sundays and holidays. But your favorite breads and pastries are just a short drive away with lots of parking. Join us at the new Amory Bakery and Cafe in Frigate Bay. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every Sunday with more baked options, grab-and-go delicious hot lunches, sandwiches, freshly brewed coffee, and made-to-order fresh squeezed fruit juices. All in a beautiful, relaxing cafe atmosphere the entire family will enjoy. Amory Bakery, quality you can taste, a name you can trust. Call 465-2132 or 665-8005.
Y'all ready for this? St. Kitts and Nevis, are you ready? The game is about to change. Sports betting and iGaming like you've never seen it before. Coming soon. Powered by BetGage Sports. The action, the odds, the thrill. Bet the way you want. Anytime, anywhere. Get ready, St. Kitts and Nevis, because BetGage Sports is bringing the heat. The heat is on. Proud sponsor of Cricket West Indies. Play responsibly. Must be 21 and older to play. The heat is on. Go Delta, go Delta. Reliable, go Delta, dependable, go Delta, Delta.
If you live here in St. Kitts and your tank on E, there's only one place that you should be. Maybe driving in Nevis and you need some fuel. Go straight to Delta. Don't be a fool. Get your cooking gas fast. All petroleum needs ULSD. Everyone in the region is shouting, Go Delta. Premium gasoline in a fully stocked C-store. So there's only one place you should be. Delta Petroleum, baby.
Back to school shouldn't meet you unprepared. St. Kitts Credit Union's Back to School loan helps you borrow up to $10,000 with flexible repayment plans, fast approval, supportive terms. Invest in your child's future with confidence, because every child deserves a strong start. Start today at www.skccu.com or call 465-2272. SKCU, invested in their future with you.
RIA Easy Money Transfer Limited, located on West Independence Square Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts, and the Solomon Arcade, Nevis, offers you safe and reliable transfers at great low rates and fees to 507,000 locations worldwide, with a pickup time of just 15 minutes after your transfer. And for even more ease of doing business, we home deliver and direct bank deposits in selected countries. So if anytime you want to send money to family, friends, and loved ones, at RIA, we've got you covered with over 30 years of experience moving money quickly, efficiently, and securely across 160 countries. Give us a call at 465-3325 in St. Kitts or 469-3325 in Nevis. Opening hours Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., 8:30 in Nevis, and on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. RIA Easy Money Transfer Limited.
Hey, Webmaster here. I stay connected to Freedom with the Freedom SKN app. Simply search for the Freedom app in the Android's Play Store or the Apple's App Store and download it. Enjoy world-class radio at its best, anytime, anywhere. Become a Freedom apper today.
It's 1:39 right here in the studios of Freedom FM. It's a Friday afternoon, actually the 11th of July 2025. And as usual on a Friday afternoon, we have Groundings right here on Freedom FM. So whether you're listening via radio, our social media platforms, or our website, we say welcome to you. As usual for our Groundings, we do have former Ambassador and former Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Sam Conda. Welcome back, Mr. Conda.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Jamie. Good afternoon, Patrick. Good afternoon to all our listeners. And I met Patrick and Jamie, two youngsters, I showed primary school folks, maybe about 7, 8, who tell me.
They were listening?
When the mother introduced me, she said, this is Sam Conda. And he said, Sam Conda, no, I don't know. He said, this is Groundings. He with Dr. Martin. He said, oh.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine. You know what I love about that?
That brings an end to the program.
No, you know what I love about that? You're not known as the Deputy Prime Minister by these young men. You're known because you're on Freedom FM.
That's right.
It shows the power of freedom.
That just made me them. Two youngsters, I wanted that. I also could go and do some research on them, But people.
The future is looking bright.
Yeah, definitely.
And we do have Dr. Patrick Martin, who is an advisor. I almost said ambassador.
Yeah, I heard it.
Advisor in the Ministry of Health.
Good afternoon, Jamie.
Good afternoon.
And Sam,
Welcome
and
back.
to the listeners and viewers to Freedom FM, and those two youngsters that correctly identified. Sam, I'm advised they go to Beach Island.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's a beach island they go to. No.
I was wondering how he got that advice.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It's not beach island. I'm going to bring information.
I think they go to George Moody's.
All right, there you go. There you go.
Just feels factory-ish.
Okay.
Could be Seventh Adventist too.
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's SDA. I wouldn't be surprised.
But gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. I shouldn't be thanking you for being here because I'm actually sitting in today. I'm the guest here today because Julie Livert is otherwise engaged. Now, we're going to start where we usually do with the preliminaries. Dr. Martin?
Yes.
I'll hand it over to you.
Well, preliminaries, any remembrances of icons, celebrations, special recognition. Sam, you have any?
Well, I know of one celebration. The Governor General.
Her birthday was yesterday.
Thursday, yeah, the 10th, yeah. I think she was having a party at Government House.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we wish her happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday. Yeah.
Was a number given?
No, I didn't get a number.
But maybe Joni should have been here so he could have given you all the details.
Yeah.
All right. Sparrow turned 90.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
When was that?
July 9.
9th, yeah. Mighty Sparrow.
Massive celebrations.
You know where he's from?
Grenada.
Just asking.
Grenada.
Okay. He's from Guave, actually, in Grenada.
How he got to Grenada, he and his mother and his father went, and there was a long story.
How he got to Grenada?
How he got to
Trinidad.
Yeah. He went there with his...
Guave is known as the village that never sleeps. So, those are all, Dr. Martin?
Well, yeah, that's all I have. We normally, have a preliminary. Before the preliminary, we look to the east to see if there are any storms brewing. None brewing.
None.
And then we also look at, we keep knocking on wood, and then we also look at the price of oil. It's been up like 2.5% today. It's now 67. Last week we were about 66. So it might be a little bit of a creep up.
There's a steady climb.
Okay. All right, but it's keeping below 70, which is merciful. All right. Well, let's move right into regional and international topics that may have piqued your
I have
interest.
one remembrance. This guy, Steve James, I don't think you all know him. He's a McKnighter. Grew up in McKnight. Friends Avenue in particular, Chile Alley, Malone Avenue, but Stoutis, Stevedore, a well-known Stevedore, but Steve was one of the guys, the youngsters who, was influential in McKnight growing up when I was growing up, and, had an impact on me as well as the other youngsters with us. So I want to extend that. I think his family is Shernell James, the Labour Commissioner. He's related to Shernell James, but... a guy who played a lot of cricket. Well, all the sports, was the Greenlands and around the gardens and so, and up at Springfield Parish. And so, the Oval, right? Yeah. So, I just want to record and extend condolences to his family.
Okay, we'll join in you in sending condolences to the family as well.
All right, let's see what's been happening around the world. In Trinidad and Tobago, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bessessa is proposing to raise the legal age for alcohol consumption to 21 and for gambling and marijuana use to 25. Legislation to be brought before Parliament. Will it work, or is this not fundamentally a public health matter? We will see. Do you have any thoughts about that, these legal age?
I think we have to protect people from themselves. The government has a responsibility and an obligation to do so, and to make sure that we give our young people an opportunity to develop properly and not to get involved in substance abuse and alcohol abuse at a young age is something that we should do. We see how those things have destroyed young people, and so we have to protect them from themselves. So it's worth the effort.
But would you say that legislative effort is not the only tool?
No, of course not. No. A multi-pronged approach to that.
The government is also taking a strong line on school-based violence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
The children who appear to be distracted will be expelled and put somewhere else where they could get the rehabilitation. And I was happy to hear after towards the end of the clip talking about the responsibility of parents and some interventions for parents too. So so good.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. Look at our schools and our children, how they grow up.
You are also privy to this exchange. We're going to the United States now.
We want to work with the United States in peace and security within the region, because we are committed to that. And we just want to thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, thank you. It's such good English, such beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully? Where were you educated? Where?
Yes, sir.
In Liberia.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's very interesting. It's beautiful English.
Sure.
I have people at this table can't speak nearly as well.
So that was President Joseph Boakai. I hope I pronounced his name correctly, speaking first, and then being complimented by the President of the United States for his
Those
English,
were compliments?
English professor. Well, it's funny you said that, because I just saw an item from the Associated Press that Liberians are not happy.
Can you imagine a politician from St. Kitts and Nevis meeting with anybody in the United States and you congratulate them on how well they speak English? We won't be happy either. It is racist and it is distasteful. But I will say it is on brand for Trump.
I felt that it was a bridge too far, really. Obviously, he did not know that Liberia is an English-speaking country formed.
No, they don't speak English.
Formed in 1880, I think it's 1880 or 1886 by Africans who were repatriated from the United States. And so if you look at the Liberian flag and the United States flag, you'll see the stark similarity. It's a West African country. It went through some travails, some civil war issues, but over the last 5-6 years, maybe 7, some stabilization has been taking place first under Prime Minister or President Erlene Johnson Sirleaf. She used to work for World Bank.
Yep.
And now so Joseph Boakai was her agriculture minister. So 5 West African countries were invited to the White House. The presidents of Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania, and Senegal. Why is the United States quoting, C-O-R-T-I-N-G, those countries? So Sam and Jamie, look at a map. If you look at a map of West Africa, you'll see that all of these countries I just mentioned are coastal.
Senegal is where the slaves left from.
Well, Ghana too, but a lot left from Senegal. And they kind of form a buffer to Niger, Mali, and Cote d'Ivoire. Remember, those countries are the ones that have been attempting to reassert African control over their currencies and
the resources.
destiny. But those 5 countries have resources that are very important in cell phones and space industries and stuff like that. So, right. So you want to go to the next one, or you
Jamie?
No, I said what I said. And
what was your reaction?
By...
This is the first time you're hearing that?
No.
What was your reaction when you heard it?
I don't know what else you could say about Trump. I've told you all. 6 months ago.
It's on brand for who he is.
6 months ago, I told you all who Trump is. He has turned the White House into a circus.
A clown.
He's a clown, yeah. And like I say, and I want to repeat it, that the rest of the world is going to limit the damage that he could do internationally, geopolitically, and so on. And the people in the United States will make sure they limit the damage he could do. This is just a containment process for the next 4 years until Trump leaves.
On a sadder note...
sadder than that?
Yes, some people were killed, drowned by a flash flood in Texas. I believe all of us here in St. Kitts and Nevis took note of that, because we know what can happen when we get a couple of inches of rain in our highlands, and in St. Kitts, it doesn't take much for College Street to become a raging torrent now, because once upon a time there used to be cane fields to the north, which absorbed a lot of the water.
Right.
Now we have some fantastic housing projects going on.
But
there,
I
so
think
there's-
College Street was dangerous back then too. I remember as a child, sun shining hot in Bastille, and you just heard the rumbling, and when you looked out, the gut was coming down viciously, right? So, but I don't know if we forget, because rain is falling and people are still packing in the guts.
There's a sign.
There's a sign,
saying,
right? But I don't know. Maybe people just have this thing like, it can't happen to me. So,
which harkens back to the Great Flood of Bastille in 1880. I'm advised that 23 inches of rain fell, which led to the Great Flood of Bastille. In Texas, I understand 10 inches fell.
Mm-hmm.
10 inches fell in the watershed, and you had a 25-foot of wall rising in 45 minutes. So this is just a reminder for us. We're in the hurricane season. You can get a real deluge and a
there was a
downpour.
flood in 98. No?
98.
Yes,
You remember what happened down
1998.
at
Yeah, I
the-
remember.
yeah,
I actually was living in Sheerlin when that happened. I saw.
yeah.
I heard the water, and we looked out and we saw the water going down. The water actually came through the alley. I think Market Street was running as well. So it was.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it wasn't
exactly.
and it happened quickly. People lost their lives.
So it doesn't take much time. A deluge, a downpour, torrential rain. The warning is, the lesson and the warning is, it doesn't take much for these water courses to start running. Be advised. Be advised.
Yeah, Texas really caught them off guard.
But that's not the first time. There was a similar event in the same area in 1997. I've seen some reflections in the same general area.
I saw reports about that as well.
All right, you had another an item we should pay attention to. You had an interview. You had an interview with poster John Anderson.
Don Anderson.
Don Anderson,
last
sorry.
evening I did do an interview.
You had an interview with Don Anderson? Wow.
I did an interview with Don Anderson last night.
It's freedom. It's freedom.
It's freedom.
It's freedom.
Right. So we can. Should we share the interview and then?
How long is it?
Or
short?
I'm looking. I'm checking. Let me check. So, I did.
You did some
a
clips?
shorter version.
Right,
It's 13 minutes.
Yeah, you did some clips. You don't have any?
No, I don't have any clips.
Well, tell us what's the gist of it.
Okay, I would prefer for him to say the gist of it, and then we can come back, okay?
All right.
But the part of the interview that is missing was just about the process and about polls for people who aren't familiar with how polls are conducted. So this is the interview. What were the key areas of focus for you in this poll?
We wanted to know, and I'll give it as a synopsis of it. We wanted to know what was the national mood at this point in time. Do people feel the country is going in the right direction or the wrong direction? In every political poll we do across the region, we ask this question because we want to know, how do people feel about the direction in which the country is going? Because that gives you an idea of how they're responding to the government and what they think should be done. All right? So we pitched it to them, and as a research company of our long-standing reputation, there's no question that we ask that is leading. So we objectively present questions to persons and we record the answers as they give to us. We have enough experience not to lead anybody in a particular response. So the national mood, and I'm going to start to give you some data now. Half of the people that we interviewed, 50%, say the country is heading in the wrong direction. This is not an abnormal finding across any country that we do it, because you never have a situation where the majority of people in the country vote for the government in office. Just a logical deduction. All right. So you'll find 50% believe the country however, is heading in the wrong direction. All right. And the main reasons they gave was the high cost of living, the majority of persons, and 40% said poor leadership. So we asked the persons, they told us what percentage believe the country is going in the wrong direction. We then asked them, why do you say it's going in the wrong direction? 51% blamed it on the cost of living, it's too high. And 40% spontaneously, without any prompting, said 40% said it's because of poor leadership. So you can get an idea of how the rest of the data might look from that one question. All right?
Okay. So that was just one question, the
One
national
question.
mood. What
Yes.
else were you looking at?
How people felt about their own situation and how they felt about the country. So following on that, we said 61% believe the country has deteriorated, has gotten worse over the last 3 years. And when we asked them, who do you think is
61%.
responsible? 61% said the country has deteriorated. The economy has gotten worse over the last 2 to 3 years. 83% of them blame the government spontaneously for this problem. So we said, how do you feel about the economy over the last 2 to 3 years? And 61% said it has gotten worse. And when we asked them, who or what do you blame for this deterioration? 83% spontaneously said the government. So when we look at it, we asked the people how they felt about the performance of the government, for example, and the leadership, because this is again is something that we need to do, and we do in every study. What do you feel about the performance of the government then? All right. 84% of persons that we interviewed rated the government performance between average and poor.
Okay.
41, I'll break that down for you. 41% said average, 23% said poor, and 20% said very poor. Spontaneous. We said we use a 5-point scale, using a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is very good and 5 is very bad or something like that. We flipped it, where 5 say it's very good and 1 is very poor. We found that the majority felt that the government was not performing very well. And then we drew that down to, pardon the pun, we then said, okay, how do you feel about the prime minister and his role and his how do you rate him? 17% view the PM positively. Of this, some people said, well, very good, good, etc. And they cited what they call is caring personality and the people-centered programs as being the positives that they associated with it. So we then looked at something like, how do you feel about the various leaders and who you think is probably the person that would be best at this point in time to run the country? Spontaneously again, we never asked people, how do you feel about Dr. Harris? How do you feel about Dr. Drew? How do you feel about the leaders in any of the other parties? We got to answer, who do you feel is the person best suited to run the country? And Dr. Harris got the highest rating in this particular score. Dr. Timothy Harris, it is, got the highest rating,
Of the
while Dr.
People's
Drew
Labor
was
Party.
about 19 percentage points behind Dr. Harris. I should mention that each of these questions that we did was analyzed by the 11 constituencies. So even though I've given you the totals here, somebody who would love to look at the data in greater detail, we do have constituency by constituency perspectives on each of these issues.
So, on a constituency basis, were the findings consistent with, or were they higher or lower in some cases?
Well, when you have readings that are above 50% and above 60%, and you break that down, it depends on how many variables you break it down by. In this case, we're breaking that down by 11, right? You will find that the tendency is towards the overall norm. In other words, if the norm is about 60%, then when you look across constituencies, you don't expect much variation because the number is almost up to 100. If you have the percentage up to 80%, you can be absolutely sure that there's no constituency that would deviate much from that. For,
Okay.
again, pretty obvious reasons. All right. So in this case, most of the data we're looking at here is round about 60% and more. And you find that the constituency breakout tends to be very much in line with the norm, the overall total that I was giving you just now.
Okay, so we are in 2025. We're just shy of 3 years since the last general elections, which saw the election of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party to office. Are these results indicative of what may happen in an upcoming general elections, bearing in mind that we are 2 years out until that election is due.
If this particular trend continues, notice I said if it continues,
Yes.
then I think whoever forms an opposition group would be likely to overtake the government in terms of favorability rating and voter intent.
Okay.
So one of the questions we asked was, his situation seems to be bad. The cost of living is high. There are a number of other problems that you face. Regardless of the problem, what do you think is the solution to the problem? Again, a totally open-ended question. And I make the point because we asked the question and we allowed persons to respond as they saw fit. And 45% of the persons believe that a change of government would be a step in the right direction.
So, I've got to ask, what were the feelings of the general population as it relates to when a general election should be called?
Again, a very important and very interesting question because if you follow that answer a while ago, you would expect that people would say, you know what, I think we should have an election as soon as possible. Okay, that is basically what it is saying. And there is a question that was asked of the general public, all 730 persons. What do you think? What do you feel about the current situation? In your view, basically, should there be an election or should, term be satisfied and term be, completed? And more persons felt that what was important right now was to call the election as soon as possible. They could make a determination as to who should run the country after that.
Based on the information that you have found in your recent poll, would it be wise for the sitting administration, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, to call a general election at this point?
Well, it depends on whether or not you think that the situation can improve. If you think you can do something about the situation in the short run, then surely. But clearly, based on the trend that we see, and the trend is the greater predictor of the outcome. So if you see a trend picking up, we haven't that long trend yet. This is one study which is a snapshot at a point in time. But the sort of strength of the numbers that are coming back here suggests that it may be difficult to turn around the situation in the short run. All right. And therefore, maybe based on this one piece of the strength of the numbers, because we still don't have a long time series, that it might be wise. It might not be the wisest thing to. One would need to take a good look at the situation before you make a decision as to when the election is called. But the nation is calling for an early election.
Now, Mr. Anderson, to be frank, the problems that have been mentioned, the challenges that have been mentioned are not unique to St. Kitts and Nevis. We are living in difficult times.
No, I'm doing a lot of work in Jamaica where we're 2 months away from an election.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that kind of led into my question.
Yes.
Because I know that you've done work throughout the region.
Yes.
So how do these results compare with other Caribbean nations? You don't have to tell us which nations.
No.
But is it the trend that you're seeing in the region at this time?
Not to the extent. In other words, when we look at, I can give you Jamaica because that is public knowledge. All right. Where we are right now is that the opposition in Jamaica has narrow lead over the ruling party, the JLP. But that trend has been, in a way, lowering over the last 9 months from a sizable lead of about 9 percentage points down to 3. So here it is a difficult decision to make up to when to call the election. It is due in another 3 months, but they have, of course, the opportunity by constitution to extend that for 3 months beyond that. All right. So in Jamaica, the situation is a lot more difficult than it is in St. Kitts. In St. Kitts, based on the data here, one could see the pattern, not the trend necessarily, just the pattern of the data. And it would suggest that, the ruling party could be in some difficulty. We also looked at the favorability rating for the political parties. Again, we did that by constituencies. And we found that the PLP is the best favored of the parties right now, followed by, of course, the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party. All right, it's the best favored of the parties right now. And again, that varies by constituency, because when you look at constituency number 6 and number 7, for example, there's stark differences.
We know the answers.
Sorry?
We know the answers.
You know the answers, all right? And that is borne out in
yes.
terms of the survey data.
Yes.
Definitely borne out in terms of the survey data. Now, favorability does not automatically translate into voter intent. I could like somebody or like a party, but may not be inclined to vote for them for various reasons. All right? But generally, favorability tends more towards the same kind of voter intent. In other words, a higher favorability, especially if it is a double-digit gap over the next in line, tends to support the view that more than likely people would vote for the party that has a higher favorability rating. If the favorability rating is narrow, you can't quite say so with a greater degree of certainty because that could be flipped if it's 4 percentage points or so on. But here we're talking about 14 percentage points different, and it is unlikely that you could have such a high favorability difference and not a vote intent in the same direction, if not the same strength.
So what about, let's say, constituency 8?
Even wider gap. In constituency 8, it's a good gap of about 26 percentage points, which is part of the reason for this huge gap is the narrowness or the smallness of the sample bases with, maybe 100 persons in constituency number 8, for example, so that the numbers, because they're smaller, is more dynamic. All right, so it may not be, in reality, as huge a gap as 26 percentage points, but it certainly is a heavy gap.
Okay,
all right?
because that's quite a large constituency.
Yes, right. And we did more interviews in that constituency because of the size of the sample. We wanted to get a more robust base from which you could analyze the data.
Mr. Anderson, what would your recommendations be for the political parties in St. Kitts and in Nevis? Should they be readying themselves for a general elections?
Well, based on the data, the majority of the persons interviewed believe that elections should be called shortly. And that's because
Okay, so that was the interview conducted last evening with pollster, Jamaican pollster Don Anderson. Gentlemen, any comments?
Go ahead, Patrick. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to review. Did I hear correctly that 730 persons are polled?
Yes, 730.
Now,
and 11 in total?
Across 11
constituencies. Across 11 constituencies.
No, he did say most of the polling took place in number 8. Did I hear that correctly? Or 100 people in number 8 were polled?
He said because it was the biggest one.
100 people
Yeah.
in number 8 were polled. It's the biggest constituency in St. Kitts and Nevis. 8,000 out of 29. Okay. That's like 30%. Yeah. Okay. And who sanctioned the poll? Did that come out in the interview?
That's information that he could not reveal.
Well, that's important. Yeah. But that's proprietary information, right? I get that. Okay.
And he did make clear that the information that he was willing to share was information that the person who
sanctioned
the poll
don't mind
authorized for him to share.
So which makes sense.
Yeah, because if I authorize a poll
and it favors me, I'm going to use that. Yeah. I'm going to use that for the whole of the weekend and the rest of the month. Right. There was no mention in the interview of People's Action Movement, CCM or NRP.
Not really. No. Mention was made of the Labour Party and PLP.
So that circles back to the question about who sanctioned the poll.
Yeah, so it looked like we could reasonably conclude that PLP commissioned the poll.
On the eve of its convention.
Yeah. Right.
Very interesting.
Mr. Kondo?
Yeah. Oh, you
finished? Dr. Martin,
I was just doing a
it was a dramatic pause.
Hearing a poll for the first poll results for the first time, it's still processing. So
yes, yeah.
I just try to put some of what I heard on the table to see if I can process some more.
Mm-hmm.
But here's something I learned very long time ago, and I keep it in my DNA. And it's a quotation from Franklin Delano Roosevelt, President of the United States. In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way, quote unquote.
Okay.
Are you saying that the poll was planned for this weekend?
You see signals. In science, you see a signal here, you see a signal there. You try to ask yourself, are these isolated or are they connected?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's break it down, right? Let's look at the results released. Mm-hmm. Do you gentlemen find these results shocking? Do you find them surprising? Are they in keeping with what you have recognized on the ground? What are your thoughts about that?
I don't. What I've heard is not what my general experience and feeling. To the extent that he's saying the gap in the leadership and the what's happening in the different constituencies and so on. I'm not getting that personally.
So let's speak a little bit about him saying that people are ready for general elections. Do you gentlemen feel that people on the ground are ready for an election?
Well, some people are saying it, but I don't think that's a
general consensus.
No. Most people say, well, we're waiting for the election. Not that we want one. No.
Not that they're anxious or calling for the election.
No. I've not found that. People saying, well, 3 years gone, so 2 years to go, so let's see what happens. Not like we want an election now.
Okay.
Generally, I mean, there will be some people who will say that, but that's not the general.
You don't think it's the general feeling of the population?
That people want an election now.
Okay. Dr. Martin?
No, I don't get that sense as I walk around.
Okay. What are your feelings as it relates to people not viewing the government at this point in time as popular because of the cost of living?
Well, cost of living is always a concern. I mean, people are calling on the government all the time, especially in recent times of the increase in the raise in the minimum wage. Mm-hmm. People are saying that the business people are going to react to that. It's happening already. Rams putting up the price and this putting up the price.
Nobody name, remember?
That's what people telling me. That's what the supermarket.
But we would prefer not. Say supermarkets. Let's be a little bit more diplomatic for the sake of Freedom FM. No, just say supermarkets.
Okay. Value Mart and
supermarket.
All the supermarkets. Okay. No. People.
And that is the point that I was making with Mr. Anderson, because this is a cry that you're hearing not just in St. Kitts and Nevis. It's not something that is unique to St. Kitts and Nevis.
Right.
Now, while measures can be taken to assist and soften the blow as it relates to cost of living, there are a lot of external challenges that we are facing, right? So I would kind of want to believe that if you conduct similar polls throughout the region, you may just get similar responses because of what's happening globally.
I heard that question you asked, and the pollster did not indicate whether there were other questions that refer to external
shocks.
It was the poll result appeared directed towards an answer that says the government is responsible for the cost of living.
Well,
which there is no one factor that is responsible.
But then, to be fair, the poll is based on people's opinion, right? So, is it the opinion of the general population that the cost of living, the reason why the cost of living is as it is because of the government? Or do people feel that the government is responsible in some way to change this?
To change it. That's my point. I think the people feel that the government has a responsibility looking at price control and monitoring and that thing. I don't understand that the government responsible for having the cost.
No, not responsible for it.
No. But the government is responsible to do something about it, to control it.
Because this is something that we've heard all the time, regardless of the administration. Once we see a rise in prices, people tend to kind of blame the government.
Of course, who else you can blame?
I mean, you could blame other factors, but people tend to push towards the government.
Yeah, but people are saying that the government must do something about it. The government has the wherewithal, the tools, the whatever it is to deal with it, and people are calling on the government to do something about it. Price control, monitoring, compliance, wherever it is you have to do. But people believe what's happening with the prices running out of control is something that the government should look at.
It didn't come out in the poll or in the clip. I don't know if it was asked. If the government could do something about the cost of living, would you change your assessment of the government?
He did say that there is time for the government to put certain things in place to change
that is his extrapolation.
That's based on what
it would have been nice to know an answer to that question.
Mm-hmm.
If the government can do something about lowering the cost of living, would that change your opinion of the government? Yes, no, I don't know.
Okay.
But so this is 730 spread persons polled spread over 11 constituencies. That's about 70 per constituency.
Small sample.
Well, it's 2.5% of those who voted in 2022. And I have to go back through my algorithms to see if that is representative enough sample to draw far-reaching conclusions. Right? So I think I would be more comfortable. I'm going to stick my neck out if it was more like a 5%.
Okay.
10% would be,
Do you think that the political parties can gain any? Do you think they can stand to benefit anything from this poll?
Anything that says
political parties. I'm not speaking about one party.
Anything that says that you're cooking on gas, you use it.
So if you say you're cooking on coal,
well, you try get some gas.
Exactly.
But
And
if you're not mentioned at all,
you get gold and gas.
You try coke.
Gold and gas.
But what is very clear, and it came out. I shouldn't be too critical of it, but it seemed to come out sideways that this is only a snapshot.
Mm-hmm.
This was whatever the date the poll was done. Those were the opinions on the day it was done.
Mm-hmm.
The day after, things can change.
The hour after, because opinions
and
tend to
all
change.
all polls are snapshots of that particular day.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, for those persons who may feel that their party or otherwise was not favorably mentioned in the poll,
not mentioned at all.
or not mentioned at all, be not dismayed. A snapshot.
It might be just an opportunity for you, according to Mr. Kondo, to get some gas, right?
Yeah,
to put measures in place, because sometimes we do need to step back and reflect on what's happening and make some changes, right?
We also need, it'll be good to see the poll methodology, though, right? Because it was clear that he responded to this way, that, if you look, number 6 and number 7 the opinions were clear as to who.
Yeah, but
right?
but they're clear to us as
Right,
well.
right. So we have to. I would like to see how many persons per constituency poll.
Okay.
To see, to get the relative. That's called the
And
relative weighting.
He did say, because it was a short interview, he did say that
was
he
what?
was. It was a short interview.
Oh.
So he did say that he was providing sort of a snapshot, to use your words, but for anybody who is willing to take a deeper look at the data, he was willing to do so, providing that it is in keeping with what he can share, right? So maybe we can look at that. Maybe we can.
Well, it caused me to pause because, meaning no offense to Don Anderson, well respected. Right? Surveys of this nature have a certain methodology. And if, I'm speculating, if things had to be done so quickly that the methodology was not complete.
No. That's not what I was saying at all. I was saying that he has the data, right? Because the interview was short, he was not able to share all the information during the interview.
Okay, sorry. So
my interview.
Your interview was short.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was
right. I was. That's why I was taken aback.
No.
That was clear.
No, because of the time frame I was working with.
It was not the survey that was.
No, not at all. Because of the time frame that I was working with, it was not possible for him to share
thanks for that.
And he was willing to share.
But he is willing to share additional data, okay?
What the additional data that his client said he can share.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And the type of data we would want to see, those of us who love numbers, would be the relative weighting, how the 730 was spread across the 11 constituencies, and things of that nature, you know. Thanks.
No, I have another question. Do you gentlemen, how much weight do you think polls carry?
Polls are becoming less and less, credible and believable.
Okay.
In the past, people, in fact, in recent times, polls have proved to be wrong more often than not. And so, but it is a way.
Do you think people look at these polls and say, oh, well, this is what the poll is saying, so this is how I'm going to vote? Do you think they have that kind of way?
And maybe sometimes people don't even tell you the true intentions. You ask them a question and they just tell you what they believe you want to hear, or it just depends. So polls are becoming, like I said, less credible and less able to predict accurately what
was the question? What was that question you asked again?
How much weight do the polls carry?
I was taught to look at who sanctioned the poll.
But then should it really matter? Because if we believe in polling, right? It's either we believe in it or we don't. Because
and once the poll says the professional
idea behind polling
I like how that got you going.
The information should be credible,
right?
Regardless of who sanctioned the poll, right? That's what I'm saying. So, do we really believe in polling?
I think polling is a very good mechanism to survey how people are thinking. If you're not doing any polling as a political party, as a major corporate entity, you're not in the game.
But then let me ask you this now. Let's say I decide to conduct a poll. Most popular radio station in St. Kitts. Well, we know who's going to win, but right?
That's the end of that. Move to the next question.
I just want the data to prove what I already know. But let's say I decide to do that. Should it matter that I commission the poll?
No.
Because
No.
if
No,
it
no.
is that I am most popular, which I know I am, then it won't really. If Mr. Condor says he's starting a radio station and he commissions a poll, a similar poll, the results should be the same.
No, you ought to do the poll because yes, you know, but suppose there's something you don't know.
That's what I'm
All
saying.
right, so,
I agree
so
with
the
that.
poll, once you say I know, there's some subjectivity in that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So a poll will help to erase some of that subjectivity.
Because some people are running independent and they know they're going to win.
So if the poll,
And they don't win, but they know that they will win.
so it's good, although you know you're the best in the business, it's good to as Shakespeare said, make assurances doubly sure. Because you're in a business. And a media house earns its business from ads. And the ads are linked to your listenership.
Exactly.
Okay. And you want to test that,
Yeah.
even though you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But the question about the weighting, and I started by saying I always like to know who's sanctioning the polls because Donald Trump was supposed to lose.
He was supposed to lose?
Yes.
All
Based on the polls.
all the polls, except his, except his,
Yeah.
except
Let me
his
tell you
polls.
something. Let me tell you something about that.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is very difficult to poll because majority of quote unquote right-minded people would not boast about supporting Donald Trump.
That's
They're
what
going
I'm
to tell
saying,
you,
yeah.
I am going to vote for Donald Trump because
That's what I'm saying. People
there's a
people
sense
don't
of
always
shame.
tell you exactly the
There's a
truth.
sense
The
of shame.
day after Trump won, what year was that?
Which
Paul
one?
was polling.
The last election, 2024, the presidential
Yeah.
election.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trump was polling, was leading.
And
in the
you
poll-
move,
was
No,
leading
no,
in the polls.
you
Yes.
move, when you move between CNN, CNBC, and all the others. Our polls. Only Trump's polls were showing that he was winning.
And the Democrats were leading here too on this program as well.
So I went down that road.
Remember?
I was hoping and praying. I don't know if
You
I
were
was-
very confident
that they're gonna
that
win.
people would not vote
Yeah.
for Trump.
So you asked about the validity of a poll. That has to be put in the pot.
No, polls are important, right? But you have to look beyond the polls.
I think you have to look at them for what they are
Yeah.
and take the lessons
Yes.
that you can learn from them.
One of the things
Right?
we did in PLP, right? When Dr. House and myself, we left, call it, quote unquote, and so on. And we think, we're going to be running and so on. And the first thing was that,
You conducted a poll.
yeah, we conducted a poll about, how it's going to go and whether we run independent. And the poll say, we're independent. You always get blown out the water. That's how team
But then
unity-
what's the difference?
Eh?
Because if you form, what's the difference?
Eh?
Because if you formed a party, right? You did form a party.
Yeah, but
that
yeah.
party only had two candidates.
Yeah, right. And form a party that we are going to be.
So joining
yeah,
made the difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so because we are just thinking that I will run in number
Based
3
on your track record as a politician.
and Tim will run in number 7. And the poll said no, that ain't gonna take. Form a party and join up with another party. Because I told you in a party, what that is the same thing like independent.
But
so join up with.
I'm wondering about that in the next general elections because now we have 3 parties.
3 parties.
No. So go
It's going to
finish.
be interesting. Let's just say that. It will be interesting.
That is why I believe that, this election is going to be even more interesting than the last one. Because it is...
The last one was quick.
Yeah.
It kind of
right,
had to happen.
Yeah, right. But no, because I believe, PLP is looking at running a full slate, right?
But PLP ran a full slate
Yeah,
in the last
yeah,
election.
and you see what happened. and Pam looking at running a full slate, and you see what happened. And so I believe that, for any serious approach, serious attack on the Labour Party, they can't come with full slate and treat
what is interesting about this poll
they will get blown out the water.
They looked at the leader of the party. No, they didn't really go into candidates because have any candidates been announced for the People's Labour Party?
No, I don't think any candidate. The only candidates we know is the Labour Party candidates.
We know PAM candidates as well. We know.
We know not all.
No, but we know
Sean,
Nobian, Azad, and the leader, Natasha Gray.
Okay.
That's four. And I think Lincoln David Pell, I think...
David Pell is 7, number 7.
Yeah. So it's still, I made that comment to say that it is still pretty early, and your candidates kind of determine your success.
Exactly.
I like the way in which you took the discussion, because there's uncertainty.
Anyway.
This poll is telling me now I have a little bit more time to reflect, and I'll reflect later. It's telling me that our people are pollable.
We are always being wait. People are always taking polls. We've been taking polls.
Okay, this verifies that our people are pollable, and they're willing to give their opinions in an anonymous poll, and that it is very important to continually poll the people. I know you're going to say, well, it's been happening all the time. Yeah, but is it being done properly all the time? I don't know.
Someone just messaged me and said Don Anderson and this person is, should I say they're a politician? Former politician. They have been in the political arena for many years. Don Anderson is a seasoned pollster, and any attempt to diminish his data will not solve anything. All politics is local. Most voters do not concern themselves with outside factors. Bottom line of the poll is that it is a snapshot of the present situation.
Okay, so the use of the term.
But I don't want anybody to think that we're trying to diminish.
I don't think that's what the person was saying.
But as Sam Kondo always told us at the beginning of this program back in 2022, all ideas must contend. And if you put some data out there, it will be interrogated.
Definitely.
And that's not necessarily diminishing the data, but it will be interrogated.
We know, during my time, all the time I've been in politics, because even during the PLP and so on, we poll regularly in the Labour Party, and when we left the Labour Party, we poll regularly. I just told you that we poll to see whether we should
whether you should make that decision or not.
Is something, but
to what extent is that known electorate that polls are ongoing in this country?
I think it is known, because even before I worked in this field, when politics never really came across my mind that often, I knew about polls. I remember seeing Peter Wickham on ZIZ saying, because people went as far as to put out fake poll information, saying that people said this when it wasn't that, and all kind of things, right? So I think people are very aware that polls have been and continue to be conducted.
And
so that is a credit then to the strength of our democracy.
Definitely. But gentlemen, it is 2:36.
I know it's 2:36, but
and this kind of hijacks the program.
Let us take you're going down the right way, because let us extract the strengths out of this poll. St. Kitts and Nevis people are willing to give their opinions. And we can do that because we live in a democracy. It's a vibrant democracy where political entities and other persons contend strongly for the attention of the electorate, and that must not be diminished.
That's right.
That has to be protected at all costs.
That is true.
Right. That's right.
Okay. So, should I share the press release that I shared with you before we take a short commercial break? Because I think that was important. It was in the public domain this week, right? So, but can one of you gentlemen read it, please? Because I'm having some trouble with the size of the print.
Well, the youngest among us should read it.
That's
Sam Condo. That's okay. Hold on. Okay. That's the multi-agency.
Yeah,
report?
multi-agency operation targets human smuggling and organized crime across the Federation.
All right, this is on the letterhead of
it's small, isn't it? The print is small,
it's
right?
on the
okay, just
so
making
bear
sure.
Bear with us. This is on the letterhead of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force for immediate release, July 11, 2025. Caption, and it's coming from the public relations officer. Caption, multi-agency operation targets human smuggling and organized crime across the Federation. On July 9th, 2025, bear with me now, the font is very small, a coordinated multi-agency search operation was conducted at various locations in St. Kitts and Nevis. The operation was executed by the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, the St. Kitts and Nevis Defense Force, the St. Kitts and Nevis Immigration Department, and the Joint Security Operations Tactical Team. It targeted individuals and groups suspected of involvement in human smuggling, organized crime, and immigration violations. The Regional Security Systems and the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation were also available and provided technical support to the operation. The operation resulted, that's paragraph 1. Paragraph 2, the operation resulted in the execution of 11 search warrants, 3 in Nevis, 8 in St. Kitts. A total of 30 persons were detained, including 26 adults who were arrested and 4 juveniles who were placed in care and protective custody. Multiple electronic devices and other items of evidential value were also taken into police custody. Paragraph 3, the last paragraph. The operation stands as a clear demonstration of law enforcement authorities' unyielding resolve to disrupt and dismantle criminal networks and enterprises operating across the Federation. It also underscores the value of coordinated intelligence, interagency cooperation, and swift tactical execution in safeguarding national security through coordinated intelligence gathering and decisive action. Final sentence. Updates will be appropriately provided as the investigations progress. End of release.
Thank you so much, Dr. Martin, for reading that. I could have never done that as well as you did. But why I wanted to share that this afternoon, I came in on Wednesday and I saw social media posts. These operations are being conducted. The FBI is here and they're doing this and that and all kind of mix-up stories. So I'm now happy that the police, the PRO for the police, could, share information and tell people exactly what's happening. In addition to that, we live in a country where when we hear certain terms, human smuggling, and we say not here. We're too small for these things. But I think we need to be cognizant of the fact that we are not immune to what's happening around us, right? And I'm happy that the police, I think there was a training session about human trafficking this week as well. So I'm happy that the police has taken steps to squash whatever it is before it actually gets out of hand.
I'm happy. I'm happy you caused this to be read, because the first thing I saw pop up on a certain Facebook page was that the FBI entered His Majesty's prison, along with the local forces.
Okay, so that was a different issue. A press release was issued about that yesterday. No, the police did say that the FBI provided tactical support as it related to that search of the prison. And they put out a list of items that they found in the prison, phones,
shanks,
lighters, marijuana, lighters, tobacco.
Fermented beverages.
Yeah. The usual items.
So I went down that road because I then scrolled down to comments, and you could see people in the comments doubting that the FBI can summarily enter a jurisdiction, which means this told me that people are thinking and probably outthinking some of the writers, which is a good thing.
Okay, and gentlemen, can we take a short commercial break? I'm already getting lots of questions, and it is almost 3 o'clock, right? So we'll take a short commercial.
We'll go to 3:05.
Only 3:05? We'll take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Groundings.
Culturama 51. National Bank wants you to swipe more, win more, and experience more. When you use your National Bank Visa credit or debit card this summer, you're swiping your way to VIP tickets, a celebrity makeover, and liming cash for Culturama 51. From June 18th to July 28th, every swipe over $100 gets you a chance to win a VIP Culturama experience. Pick your event, get a glam makeover, skip the line, and lounge like a star. Or grab $500 in liming cash and splurge to the max. Draws take place live at the National Bank Group Soca Monarch semifinals on July 19th and the official opening of Culturama on July 24th. 2 big nights, 4 big winners. Only with National Bank, your premier platinum sponsor for Culturama 51.
Frigate Bay is now the new Amory Bakery destination. Starting Sunday, July 13th, our Victoria Road location will be closed on Sundays and holidays. But your favorite breads and pastries are just a short drive away with lots of parking. Join us at the new Amory Bakery and Cafe in Frigate Bay. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every Sunday with more baked options, grab-and-go delicious hot lunches, sandwiches, freshly brewed coffee, and made-to-order fresh squeezed fruit juices. All in a beautiful, relaxing cafe atmosphere the entire family will enjoy. Amory Bakery, quality you can taste, a name you can trust. Call 465-2132 or 665-8005.
Reliable, dependable, Delta. If you live here in St. Kitts and your tank on E, there's only one place that you should be. Maybe driving in Nevis and you need some fuel. Go straight to Delta. Don't be a fool. Get your cooking gas fast. All petroleum needs ULSD. Everyone in the region is shouting, Go Delta. Premium gasoline in a fully stocked C-store. So there's only one place you should be. Delta Petroleum, baby.
Y'all ready for this? St. Kitts and Nevis, are you ready? The game is about to change. Sports betting and iGaming like you've never seen it before. Coming soon. Powered by BetGauge Sports. The action, the odds, the thrill. Bet the way you want. Anytime, anywhere. Get ready, St. Kitts and Nevis, because Betcage Sports is bringing the heat. The heat is on. Proud sponsor of Cricket West Indies. Play responsibly. Must be 21 and older to play. The heat is
RIA Easy Money Transfer Limited, located on West Independence Square Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts, and the Solomon Arcade, Nevis, offers you safe and reliable transfers at great low rates and fees to 507,000 locations worldwide, with a pickup time of just 15 minutes after your transfer. And for even more ease of doing business, we home deliver and direct bank deposits in selected countries. So if anytime you want to send money to family, friends, and loved ones, at RIA, we've got you covered with over 30 years of experience moving money quickly, efficiently, and securely across 160 countries. Give us a call at 465-3325 in St. Kitts or 469-3325 in Nevis. Opening hours Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., 8:30 in Nevis, and on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. RIA Easy Money Transfer Limited.
Back to school shouldn't meet you unprepared. St. Kitts Credit Union's Back to School Loan helps you borrow up to $10,000 with flexible repayment plans, fast approval, supportive terms. Invest in your child's future with confidence, because every child deserves a strong start. Start today at www.skccu.com or call 465-2272. SKCU, invested in their future with you.
Hey, Webmaster here. I stay connected to Freedom with the Freedom SKN app. Simply search for the Freedom app in the Android's Play Store or the Apple's App Store and download it. Enjoy world-class radio at its best, anytime, anywhere. Become a Freedom apper today.
And we are back. So without further ado, we're going to the phone lines because they're already going off. But those of you who want to interact with the gentleman here, you may do so by calling 662-1065, 465-6474, or 465-0546. Good afternoon. You are our first caller.
Good afternoon, Jamie.
Good afternoon
to your distinguished guests. I know your time is so quickly on the polls. I agree with both Ambassador Conda and Dr. Martin regarding the reliability of polls, and this is not to discredit in any way the pollster and other aspects that were brought out. But I just want to say that even with a sampling, because a sampling can be good, I found that the European samples, their results tend to best reflect what is polled. Not in the U.S., as we have seen, and even here, sometimes the polls are not reflective of the results. But even when you do a sampling, it has to do with who responds. And if you have this type of, it's a political poll, if this is a political poll, there are many people who would not have answered. But there would be others of a particular party who might have been thinking, if you get anything, remember to answer. And so they're more willing to answer. So who would answer the poll is another question thing in terms of how the results could be. So I just leave it there. But I just want to add one final thing on this particular point, and that is you just read a statement from the police about people smuggling people here. That reflects something. When people want to come into a country, you know something is more positive than their country. When people want to go out, it's the opposite. And so even from the reality of things, St. Kitts has the highest per capita income in the whole of the 15 CARICOM states, next only to the Bahamas. That's a reality. People are aware of it, they hear about it, they want to come here from other countries. So that's that. So I'm going to leave it there. And that. I just want to make one comment with respect to this issue with President Trump, and not to how should I excuse him in any way, but I think his advisors did him a disservice I don't think, I know that from what we have seen, President Trump kind of could be very insensitive, but they should have advised him, as Dr. Martin pointed out, about what Liberia is, the country Liberia is.
But shouldn't he have known, though?
Well, whether or not he would have known, he's supposed to be advised. I'm not excusing him, I'm just saying that something is wrong when he doesn't realize what country Liberia. Now, most of those countries that are major among the five there, several of them are francophone. And when we think of West Africa, many countries might think those on the thing are francophone countries.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You have one of them, of course, Guinea-Bissau, which is Portuguese. But Liberia itself is an American. I mean, it had its conflict between those who returned the freed persons who went back. And I visited there some years ago in part of my work. And the conflict continued because you have you could say the Americanized ones who came back vis-a-vis the indigenous ones, those who are native to Liberia. And that conflict is what also fueled up, apart from the fact that of all these resources, the diamonds and the oil and oil in the other countries, Gabon and all those places. That is what President Trump wants. But I just leave it there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
The lines are quiet. So, Dr. Martin, I do have a question for you. Can the advisor to health give us an update on the smart hospital or roof repairs at JNF Hospital? And what is the synopsis or snapshot of our health sector that's after... Okay, I'm reading a part. Sorry, but I'm reading a part.
So yeah, I understand. So what I know...
Do you want to do it now, or do you want to take a call?
Well, let's take the call. This is the call.
Take the call,
Good afternoon. You're live.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to point out an issue, or rather a fact that some for sure would know and others, that in as much as polls or polling is not an exact science, any major entity which is mentioned in the poll or which is the target of the poll would be committing partial suicide and would be denying or rejecting the outcome of the poll at his own peril. Because, as has been mentioned and needs to be emphasized, whereas polls might not necessarily reflect an accurate 100%, if anything is possible, position, it does give a view, even though it may be partial, of what currently obtains. And so I think we need to bear that in mind. Now, if we are going to suggest that because I, John Brown, commissioned Peter to conduct a poll, it is because I want the results to be favoring John Brown, then it seems to me that by implication I will give Peter a list of names of individuals whom he should interview in order, persons who I know support me, in order to get that outcome. In which case, of course, I would expect not just 50% and 60%, I would expect 99% to be supporting, to be saying the things that I want to said. So I think that in fact, in as much as Mr. Martin and others tried to dismiss or to deny that they were impugning Mr. Anderson's
sorry, so we didn't. No, that's not true. We didn't dismiss a thing.
Oh, he's gone. Okay, I just want to provide some additional information. I said tactical support. In speaking about the FBI, it was supposed to be technical support. I'm sorry. In addition to that, the police has released further information. The operation, this is about the one about human smuggling, was supported by prior intelligence that warranted targeted action. While we are not in a position to disclose sensitive operational details, I can confirm that the individuals in question are assisting with inquiries linked to transnational activity consistent with human trafficking indicators. As the investigation evolves, any charges laid will be publicly communicated. regarding this possible connection to organized crime and the recent increase in drug seizures. Those linkages are also under analytic review. We appreciate the media's role in seeking clarity.
This is to remind us that St. Kitts and Nevis, the Federation, is in the real world, that organized crime is transnational, that we have 70 miles of coastline, which is very difficult to police, which is challenging to police, and that our border security requires technical inputs, supports, cooperation from the neighbors. Our neighbors include France, Netherlands, the UK, and the United States. United States, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. UK, BVI, Anguilla. France, St. Martin, St. Bart's. Netherlands, St. Martin, Statia, Saba. Those are our immediate neighbors, along with Antigua, Montserrat, of course, right? But Montserrat is UK. All right, so the border security that we need requires multi-agency, multi-country cooperation, intelligence-driven. So this is the world we live in.
Yeah.
Okay. Gentlemen, with your permission, I'll take
Sure.
this call. Well, 2 more calls. We missed that one. Let's try this one. Good afternoon. You're live.
Good afternoon, Jamie and your guest.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, like you, I think those guys were a bit shell-shocked by the poll result. Talk about pregnant silence at the beginning. But the thing is, Anderson, I think, is a professional. And so perhaps we shouldn't shoot the messenger. I'm not surprised that bread and butter issues weren't, like the cost of living, weren't at the fulcrum of the poll. Okay? And I think, objectively, looking at it, I'm not surprised that Harris would have polled that high, because remember that they had won, Team Unity had won a convincing election just 2 years prior to the last one, okay, and Harris had developed this kind of the prevailing view was that he had done a good job in terms of the economy and COVID and those things, all right? So it's no surprise that he polled higher. I mean, it was a short space of time, really. And I think when you add to that the fact that I think there was a lot of expectations at the after the last election, and a lot of promises were made of things that almost seemed as if it were going to be delivered immediately. And 3 years after, there's still some open-endedness as to when the major projects are going to be delivered, and there's still a lack of transparency, pretty much the same as before. So it's not surprising for me that those things come to the fore. All right? It would be, I honestly don't feel that this poll is going to predict what would happen next election. I mean, it's too far out for one. I think people will sober up and see, and then really scrutinize the effects of the Prime Minister, Harris's Prime Ministership last election or before. And so it's going to be very different. But like the caller said, you cannot ignore any poll. To do so, it's kind of committing suicide.
But nobody ever ignore polls.
How the other parties react to a poll like this. Because obviously, They cannot win by themselves, and I don't think PLP can win by itself either. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond to this in view of the fact that even though Labour might not be as, the SKN might not be as strong as it should have been, it is stronger than the other parties, despite what the poll might say. Okay, then.
Okay, thank you so Thank you so much for that contribution. Should we squeeze in one more call?
Yeah, sure, man.
Okay.
Please.
Good afternoon. You are our final caller for this afternoon.
Greetings, Serene Highness.
Greetings.
Extending greetings to others on Groundings.
Greetings, my brother.
Okay. We're hearing the word crime, and it would be appropriate, for the mother colony of the West Indies, this plantation called by St. Christopher, Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, to remind all whom it may concern that the worst crime against humanity, the case ain't tried yet. It ain't tried in The Hague, nor nowhere else. Victims still here, going through the struggles. All right. We hear about money too. And this CARICOM had a meet recently, ain't it? It would be very good, for the masses of the people if there is a touchable unison, CARICOM, OECS, whatever, with the aim of financial independence. Because we don't claim the other form of independence, so-called, but we're not economically independent. And that is a terrible void. We need to fill that void.
Okay, thank you so much, caller, for that contribution. That was our final contribution for this afternoon. So at this point, I'll ask Dr. Martin to respond to the questions.
Thank you,
and then
Jamie.
we'll wrap up.
Thank you, Jamie, Sam, and to the listeners and callers. As usual, Sam, when Jamie is here, the heat is on.
She brings the heat.
She brings the heat? Okay, good. You said that. No. Okay, all right. That's just.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. So I want you to be nice and cool and comfortable, so I won't be back next week.
That sounds like a tactical action.
I like to feel heat, Jamie.
Yeah, man. Let's get the heat on. Listen, though, if you can't take the heat, you can't be in this business of media and discussing politics in the open. You got to stay out the kitchen if you can't take the heat. And we come here. We attempt to come here every Friday to discuss the issues because we have no other choice.
That's right. Absolutely.
As citizens of a country of 52,000 people, trying to survive in a world that is hostile towards countries of 52,000 who are prominently of African descent. Let us be clear. Let us be clear about that. And I'm happy that the topics we had an agenda, ladies and gentlemen, but we switched because of some breaking news.
As we often have to.
We have to give way. You have to give way because the topics that we had can continue next week is about the economy and the week after. But my general, I think we have to again state that nobody this afternoon diminished John Anderson's profession. Sorry. I keep saying Don Anderson's work. But two persons have called in and used that term after we said we didn't diminish it, right? But you have to interrogate it. Right? Cannot let anybody in the studio who participates in this program, we all know that you say something and you don't have data, we're going to interrogate you. And the data. And if the heat is too hot, they'll come back to the program, So, no, there was no diminishing of Don Anderson at all. But we shall continue to interrogate. The last topic in relation to the security operation sends a very strong signal to us that although we are the smallest in the Western Hemisphere, we are under spotlight from those who do not mean well for the reputation of this country. And we all should put our hands up to be part of protecting the country, regardless of political affiliation. The country comes first. And there are those who do not have our best interests at heart. So let us give maximum support to the agencies, the competent agencies we have, and their supports, technical supports, so we can sing, O land of beauty, a country where peace abounds. So whatever information you can give, please feel free. You know the hotline numbers. But we have to be eternally vigilant.
Dr. Martin, the hospital and healthcare?
The Prime Minister reported on Monday.
Okay.
In relation to construction starting later this year.
Okay. The roof of JNF?
What was the issue with the roof?
I don't know.
Okay.
They asked the status of the roof.
Well, the roof was leaking badly. We sought the competent officers of the Republic of China, Taiwan. Their technical experts came in and conducted the necessary analyses and also put in a solution.
Okay, so
There are still areas in this concrete roof that continue to give difficulty. They are being addressed.
Okay. So that's what the person asked, if you can give an update on the roof repair.
Concrete roofs, I'm not an expert. This is what the experts tell me. Concrete roofs are going to give you difficulties continually, so you have to continually maintain, especially in a place that is near or on a tectonic plate. The movement of the earth will cause cracks. So we are to expect ongoing work on the roof. But we are thankful. And let me say that again. We are very, very thankful for the intervention from the Republic of China, Taiwan, our long-standing development partners, for the solution that provided and the continuing technical support they provided in many sectors here in the country. What was the other one? New hospital, roof, snapshot.
The status of the healthcare overall.
Oh, that requires
an entire program. But what I will say is that the Ministry of Health, represented by Permanent Secretary Curtis Martin and Dr. Jensen Morton, will be here on Wednesday afternoon for issues.
Thank you for
So
that.
tune in.
That's right. That's correct.
Notice how I just put in that ad?
Yeah.
So tune in.
Because you're Freedom FM.
On Wednesday afternoon, and they will provide information as it relates to the healthcare sector, and they'll take calls from the general public as well.
And that allowed me to think also and to say that, remember, healthcare is bigger than hospital. Healthcare is about the quality of air, the cleanliness of the water, the health of the food, the cleanliness of the environment, the competence of the workers. Those are, and the amount of finance that you devote to the resources and the buildings. Healthcare is bigger than a hospital. Most of healthcare in St. Kitts and Nevis is done outside of the hospitals, in community centers, doctors' offices, and people's homes. And so on Wednesday, my colleagues will be able to go into your questions a little bit more frontally with the data, etc. But to say that the fact that people are migrating here and investing here indicates a high measure of confidence in our healthcare infrastructure, especially public health, community care and hospital care and private sector care. And remember, people rallied and died in 1935. That's when healthcare started to gain some prominence in the political electorate. People at Buckley's shed blood, sweat, and tears so that we can have the health care that we deserve. And successive administrations have invested in healthcare, some more, some less. Those of us who travel know what we have. Those of us who travel and compare know what we have. And my name is Patrick Martin. I'm proud to be a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay, good way to end, Dr. Martin. Mr. Conde, your final words.
I ranted too much, I know.
Yeah, one caller said that you ignore polls to your peril. And so nobody ignores polls. Nobody. Everybody, no matter who the poll is commissioned by, everybody pay attention to what the people said. Because it is a way of informing and influencing how you structure your program, what people are thinking about. So, nobody's saying anything about that. But nobody expect that, poll commission by PLP and so on, that everybody going to be jumping up about it, that Labour going to say, boy, this is true and so on. Then they're going to observe it, they're going to analyze it, they're going to assess it and see how to respond. That's what polls are for. It is to inform and to influence and to get certain, feelings from the thing. So that's what we are doing here, and that's what we want to do. That we have to take polls for what they are and what they do. So we are not diminishing or criticizing or anything. We're just saying, we're just stating the facts. We know about polls. I mean, I've been dealing in polls, like I say, from forever.
As a veteran politician.
Yeah, the Labour Party was every time, not just once a year, but regularly. I mean, when in 2000, Labour won all 8. We knew that we were going to win all 8 long before the election was called, because we were polling all the time. And like I say, in PLP, when PLP was formed, that is what influenced the formation of PLP. It was polls. That's what polls are for. So you got to use them, take them, and use them to your own advantage. See what's good in them, what you're taking and what you're leaving, and so on. So that's all we're trying to do, to analyze polls as
okay.
serious, mature people.
Okay, gentlemen, as usual, it has been quite...
Any parting shots on the security operation?
Yeah.
Because you were Minister of Security.
Yeah. That is a major concern. And I just want to add to that is that when we talk about crime and security and so on, the prison, I want people to understand how central the prison is to that. Because that we have people in there came off the street and they're in there and they're communicating and they're connecting. And, they're part of that exercise. An integral part, a major part. And so we have to make sure that our prison services, we don't take it as seriously as we should. What's happening in the prison and what's going on there, that is of major concern when we're talking about security, national security and crime and so on. We have to make sure that our prison services are top top notch. We have to make sure that we're doing the right things there. All the rules, regulations, observance, surveillance being done, because that could make all the difference to your national security efforts.
Definitely. So again, thank you, gentlemen, for being here this afternoon. As usual, it was a vibrant program, and we look forward to hearing more from Groundings next week. Notice I said hearing more. We look forward to hearing more from Groundings next week, Friday. So those of you who chose to spend your afternoon with us, who chose to call in, those of you who wrote on the Facebook and on the wall, we appreciate your contribution. Coming up next on Freedom FM, we have Islands Rhythms hosted by EK. Get ready for Taste and See, the cooperative experience. Join us on Saturday, July 12th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Sugar Apple, Fort Lands for an unforgettable experience of flavor, culture, and community. Sample and shop your way an exciting showcase featuring local wines, fresh produce, flavorful goods, handmade candles, soap, natural cosmetics, and so much more, all proudly made by our cooperatives. Enjoy live performances and good vibes with Mr. Hype as our house DJ for the evening. Entrance is absolutely free, and you receive 2 samples and a welcome drink. Come out and support our local cooperatives while enjoying the best of what they have to offer. Brought to you by the Department of Cooperatives.
Freedom FM is life. Freedom to the world. 106.5.